Good morning, guys. Welcome back to the Ahn Rho Project, self-therapeutic multimedia project for me to solve the problems, challenges, and obstacles in my life, as well as a self-improvement process for me to reach the height goals and ambitions that I've set for myself and those around me. All right, it's the third of 8 streams today. It's a marathon. We got a marathon going down, and I was expecting that this live stream would be up and running maybe 2, 3, 4 hours after the first two, which again, you can check the previous ones: Facebook Live, Twitch, YouTube. Even there's a Korean platform there, so 안녕하세요, or wherever the world you're coming from. So bonjour if you're from France. So with that being said, this third live stream will focus on all these grocery items right here, and they're by and large snack food items, and it's going to be diving into a lot of the unhealthy habits I've been having down. And of course, that's actually one of maybe 50 to 80 different items I want to cover in today's marathon of probably 8 live streams, but possibly even more, depending on whether or not we get everything done. So stick around. Of course, the Ahn Rho Project introduction is, we're going to try to wrap this up in about 2 minutes, and then we'll deep dive into all this stuff that is, like you see the title at the bottom right-hand side. Okay, what you see is what you get. We're going to cover all this stuff that's food-related: snacks, trash, garbage, cookies, packaging, and run through them a little bit of their nutritional facts, but largely it's about a bad decision making, and we're going to talk about that, a lot of storytelling. So that's what's in store. So first, the Ahn Rho Project introduction, as usual, that I'm practicing right now. Ahn Rho Project, like I said at the very beginning, self-therapeutic, psychiatric multimedia project, also a self-improvement process. One way to break it down, of course, the Ahn Rho Project broken down into many different sub-series, which then are further broken down into sub-domains or variables of life. So variables of life, the domains of life being finance, employment, relationships, and you can break those down further into, colleagues, to friends, to family, to blah-de-da. And then, of course, finance can be broken down to investments, insurance, blah-de-da, income, and all that kind of stuff. So those are domains of life, and they're all grouped together in terms of sub-series, which, of course, sub-series focus on any matter of different domains combined together that I'm covering at that particular pivotal point in time. So maybe for the past 3 months, for instance, that time frame, I've been trying to one major sub-series, trying to save a guardian. Basically, I become a caregiver, and I'm taking care of one of my guardians who is severely ill, has fallen out of employment, and then we have to do all that EI insurance, employment insurance, all that kind of stuff, getting her to the ER, emergency room of the hospital, all the specialists, all that kind of stuff. And of course, there are more lighthearted sub-series, such as 1KD, which you see in a bio. 1KD standing for 1,000 days till death, assuming from January 2020 that I only had 30 months left to live my life, and then I dropped dead at the age of 30. Just dead, right? So how would I live the rest of my life without regrets and do it with satisfaction? So that's time management one. There's another, the major one that we're focusing on most recently and currently, even in this part of the live stream, is aftermath, which is an aftermath after those 4 months of hell where everything went to shit, from relationships to health and disease to finance to business to this project. Everything just went sour. And it's just one of those times in life. If it's a game, that's one way to look at it. That's basically what the sub-series focused on. So, all right, the last thing of the introduction is, of course, analogies, and then we're going to dive into this. Analogies are just ways for me to communicate what the Ahn Rho Project is to you, from me to you. It's like, many different analogies. One way I like to describe it is like business sense of shipping and receiving applied to personal life. So you see across my room right here, a little bit more engaging. You can see all the items in different areas. I would break down the room into, say, region A, B, C, D, E, for closet and all that kind of stuff like that. And then enumerate things down, sort of like you do in shipping and inventory by UPC, SKU. Well, I don't have codes like that, but the point is you can sort of apply shipping and receiving fundamentals to your personal life. And that would be one sub-series of the Ahn Rho Project focused on the material portion of life. And so I use an analogy to describe that as, it's a business, shipping, receiving, warehousing kind of thing. Now, another analogy I like to use to describe, of course, the Ahn Rho Project as a whole is to say it's a time record, autobiography for me to look back on maybe 20 to 30 years down the road. Not particularly surprising, right? This is something that maybe some of you may find relatable and have embarked on for yourself. And of course, the main sub-series analogy, one of the main analogies that I like to use also is that life is like a game. And that's certainly what I'm trying to do right now, is solve the good, the bad, and the ugly portions of my stream. Even if it's in the public eye, it doesn't matter, because that's the greatest challenge of all. If you have severe issues and you always feel nervous and anxious, or you're constantly depressed, or you have all these negative mindsets and habits, and then they bleed into physical behaviors that hold you back. And this is me talking about myself, not about necessarily anybody else, although many people do have these problems anyways. But still, I'm taking responsibility for my own issues, my own matters on hand, and that's my obligation. And the only way to do it is to just do it. Just do it, no matter how embarrassing or how humiliating or degrading it is. You have to be tougher than that, stronger than that. And so with that being said, here is my first, I guess, in this third live stream. You can tell there's a whole bunch of snack food items. Bad example of what you should be eating. Don't do what I do. Okay, I'm trying to move away from this, so don't follow me. I'm trying to move away from this. So you see all these chips here, or you see all this, move away from these. We have 8 items here, like you see in the title. It says grocery snack trash. It's very trashy. This is a bunch of stuff I need to throw away when I go out and get some more groceries in about maybe an hour. And hopefully at that time I'll manage to pick up something at least slightly better. Hopefully, usually it's a mix of healthy and extremely unhealthy items. So I can tell you, for instance, this Sorati Shevdo stuff, very spicy, high in salt, so sodium, not it's just a snack food item. Same thing with the Namapara. These are both Sri Lankan, Indian snack foods. But we also have, the typical cookies here. And again, high on saturated fat and sodium, all that kind of stuff. Something of a binge eating streak. We're going to get to that in another live stream. That's a binge eating binge eating sort of habit I've been picked up for the past 2 to 3 years now, maybe 4 years. So something that I just had to resolve. And then we have these cookies here, slightly better. I did take a look and say, okay, all right, this one has less sugar. At least per 3 cookies, only 7 grams, which is still quite a bit, but at least has fiber too. Compared to some of these other cookies here, which are horrendous. Obviously, these have like maybe 10 grams of sugar or something like that, so chocolate cookies. So you can see it's a whole bunch of junk food, right? So it's like I'm buying impulsively, and that's a bad thing to get yourself out of. As if you're in a rut like that, definitely work slowly, but work quickly, because your body does deteriorate over time. And so Harvest Snaps, this is slightly better. It's got a lot of fiber, you can tell. And you can tell this is one of those items where I was trying my best to not get the absolute worst. At the very least, if I'm going to fuck up, I'm going to fuck up a little bit with some level of dignity. Same thing here with these chips. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's multigrain. It's still unhealthy, right? But at the end of the day, if you can mitigate the damage by even a little bit, because you're trying to move step by step, one step at a time, eventually you'll get to it. Hopefully, eventually doesn't last months, okay? Now, I do have something here that's all right. I have some bananas here, and they were green. Typically, when they're green, they have a lot more fiber, a lot less sugar. So I covered, maybe it looks like so far 8 items. Now, most of these things are finished, so when I say trashy, it's actually a pun on words. I don't just mean kind of slutty kind of thing. Like, this is stuff that I really should just take out and throw away, because they're all completely finished. And off stream, after this one ends, I'm just going to crumple it up and put it inside each other, separate the recyclable bits, like this box. I'm going to flatten it, and then take the plastic portions that are litter, crumple it all together, and stick it inside something that is like, I'll put a bag inside a bag inside a bag, and then throw it away. So, of course, anything that I have to keep that I'm still not done eating, like these bananas here, I will still have with me. And so that's a lot about that. I did buy something else here that I should mention. These spoons, plastic disposable spoons, and that's something that I typically do when I go to workplace. I don't usually take any utensils that I had to wash. I just discard it like that. So it's overall, some very bad habits, and you can see it all right here. And full display to show against the world exactly how ugly things are, and how awful and just irresponsible, generally speaking, I am right now. So on the right hand side, it does say what the fuck, because the fuck is this? Right? Okay, that's just a very general blunt, and sometimes you have to be very blunt with yourself. All right, so binge eating, yes, we talked about that. Now, 550 grams. So yesterday, this one bleeds into, like I said, another live stream where we're going to be talking about digestive, respiratory, cardiovascular, and neurological health and all that kind of stuff. Because I am in biomedical science and I am very familiar with psychotherapy and all those sorts of particular biological, neurological fields and STEM-related fields. I'm a very statistically oriented person, and it's very disappointing, obviously, that the theory doesn't match out into practice. A lot of times, if in life you've experienced some domestic issues, household issues that have destroyed finances and health and disease and poverty and all that kind of stuff, no matter how smart you are, you can't escape the people who you're living with or the environment that you're living with. And then they become part of you. The problems become part of you, and then you can't escape yourself. And that's the scariest part, escaping yourself. And by escape, you really shouldn't escape. You should fight it. You are your own worst enemy at that point, or you become it, because you're no longer innocent after the negative influences become a part of you. And so that's something that I'm clearly trying to work on. Now, I said 550 grams, so what does this have to do with that? So basically, about a day or two ago, I bought these groceries, these snack food items here. I don't dare call these things groceries. I mean, but I did. But basically, the point is they're snack foods, and it was, I believe, the Christmas Eve, and I ate. I think I was keeping track. I wanted to say that at least if I'm somewhat aware of what I'm doing, I can quantify the amount I'm eating so that I can say, okay, I gotta make sure that I don't pass that certain threshold where I completely collapse. Because I have binge eaten to the point where I could do nothing except just reel in pain, unfortunately. So 550 grams in one setting. That's how bad it was. It's about 100 grams of this, 100 grams of these sun chips, 100 grams of one of these other things here. I think it's the namapara. And then we had about 60 grams of cookies on this side, 60 grams of cookies here. And so all together, bundled together, all was about 500 grams or 0.5 kilograms of food that I just binge ate. And that was a really bad, stressful situation there. I was trying to really control my impulses, and it was a major failure there on Christmas Eve. And so again, just all the good, the bad, and the raw, ugly, and honestly, that's something that happened and is a part of this live stream, the third live stream today's marathon. All right, so that's what I have to say about all this. Again, I will have to clean up all this mess, package it up, all the litter. I will take it out when I go to the groceries. There is a fourth live stream coming immediately after this one, and that's the one right here on the bottom right-hand side. It says insecurity, debt, toilet paper. So I'm going to turn around and just show a very quick glimpse in about 5-10 minutes when I'm ready what we're going to cover there. And you can see the desk, the office area, region A here is a whole mess. So this is A, right? So just A, B, C for the closet, D. Now D is a D1 here, which all has the groceries and the litter. D2, D3, D4, and of course the rest of the regions don't really matter right now, but that's what we're going to focus on in the next live stream right here. So in about 10 minutes, I'll see you. And we're going to talk a lot about just the insecurity that underlies all this paper here and why it's here, and as well as the toilet paper, because there's a whole lot of symbolism during my live streams, if you notice, because of course this is a self-therapeutic multimedia project, and it dives deep into my problems that may or may not be relatable. And so that's what's going to be covered in the fourth live stream. So I'll see you there. This is Ahn Rho signing out, and ciao.